Hey, it's Coach Cass. I'm dropping in really quick. Before we get started, I need your help. Need your help with this podcast. If you love this podcast, take a few seconds, hit subscribe, and rate us 5 stars. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, scroll down a little bit down to ratings and reviews. Tap the 5 stars, and it literally takes seconds. It helps me out. It helps the podcast out. And if you really want to go the extra mile, write a review. Yes, thank you so much for your help. Please share with someone you think will benefit from listening in. Thank you for helping to really help this podcast grow. Now on to the show. What's up, what's up, what's up, family? Welcome to the Hub. Hey fam, this is Coach Cass, and today's guest is someone who is near and dear to my heart. One of my private clients, y'all, Juicy. We have Danielle Shaw in the house. Hi, Danielle.
Hey, Coach Cass.
What's up, girl? Welcome to the show. So Danielle, let's get to the nitty gritty, right? So can you share with us a little bit of your love journey, like pre you and me? What had gone on before? Tell me about it. Tell me.
So prior to stumbling upon the amazing Coach Cass, I was actually in the process of getting a divorce.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. And I know that, when you marry, you don't ever think about the fact that that could be an end result, right? And that is never the desired goal. But certainly I found myself in a place of love gone wrong, right? And so I would say that I was in a broken place.
Yeah.
In a broken place from the position of how did I get here? Right. And then simultaneously, at the same time that I was getting a divorce, my mother had also unexpectedly passed away. So I was in certainly a place of brokenness and had made a decision that, you know what? I don't hate love. Certainly it's not out of the cards for me, but maybe at this time in my life, I'm just not interested. I think I'm going to take some time and cater to me. Cater to me.
That's beautiful. Okay, so I know a lot of people listening have been in that spot, right? Where you're just like, I don't know about this love thing. And I got some things going on the family side. So maybe I take a pause. So what was that like for you, that post-divorce, single, like what was that like for you?
Honestly, it felt like freedom.
Ooh.
It felt like freedom. And I know that divorce is not necessarily something that people come out of saying, hey, I have my life back. But certainly that was the case for me. It was a place of peace. I enjoyed it, which is probably why I didn't want to give it up. Let's just be honest. But I enjoyed it. It was a place of peace for me, that I had my own space, that I could focus on me, that I could do things that were unique to me and that I enjoyed, because I found that in my past relationship, in my past marriage, that I tried to be the person that ex-spouse wanted me to be, right? And so sometimes that resulted in me kind of pushing down things that were of interest to me or that I typically enjoyed or engaged in, like love volunteering, love participating on community committees to give back, love spoken word and poetry, and going out to the little jazz places. And those were just, they seem minute, but those are just small things that, incrementally I began to give up in order to be present for the things that my ex-spouse wanted me to be there for. So post-divorce, it was a place of peace. It was certainly a place of contentment, of I can actually just be me, right? And I can enjoy those things without feeling as though I'm neglecting or not being attentive to what the ex-spouse wanted me to be attentive to.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So I definitely get how we can forget who we are in the wrong relationship. So that's powerful, Danielle. So why don't you share with the folks like what made you choose to work with me? Like what made you say, you know what? I think I need to have Coach Cass in my back pocket.
So when I met you, you said to me, yes, I am a love coach and I work with women who are professional, over 40, looking for love. And I was just like, oh, that's so cute. And I was just like, that's really sweet too. I thought it was a really niche population that you
Mhm.
are working with. And it's true that, women in their 30s or 40s or 50s who have prioritized career or who have been in relationships before that didn't work out, that we kind of turn into ourselves, or we just decide, you know what, the serious thing is not for me. Maybe I'll date a little here, a little there, and that'll be good for me. But when you said, yeah, to help women find love, right? Who are
Mhm.
looking for love. I said, oh, that's really cool. And, it wasn't that day that I was just like, yeah, I need to work with Coach Cass. I'm looking for love, because obviously I
You
was
weren't looking for
processing
anything.
divorce and I was just like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in a thing, right? Not a thing, not a person, not a thing, not anything. And so, but I thought it was really cool. And so, in subsequent following interactions, it'd be like, hey, Danielle, how's it going? Anything interesting? Hey girl, how you doing? Dating anybody, or how are things? And I would say, yeah, no, I think one day I said, I think I met a guy.
Oh snap. Yes, you did.
I think I met a guy. And again, I'm not one that's easily enthused, right? I'm not, because I'm not interested,
Right,
right?
right, right.
Interested, but I met a guy.
Mhm.
And what was interesting is your questioning, right? Nothing questioning like, what about this? What about this? It was more like a genuine interest in,
Mhm.
hey, how do you feel about that? You
Mhm.
know, tell me about him. What do you
Mhm.
love about him? To really kind of probe, asking kind of those probing questions to get me to think about, hey, why am I interested in this guy, and what do I like about him, and why is it that when I talk about him, I smile, things like that. And I think those
Just
things are
light up, girl. Light up the world.
light up the world. And these things are important. And when I won't speak for all women, but I'll speak for myself and say, when you say that you're not interested, you don't really think about those things, right? Because you have literally told yourself, I'm not interested. So you don't notice when you
Close
smile,
the door.
right? And you don't notice that the
Mhm.
fact that your shoulders are not raised to your ears and you're not stressed out. And, it's just like, it's a genuine peace. It's a genuine happiness. It's a genuine joy that sometimes I don't feel like we as women who are looking for love or entering relationships for a second time pause to assess and see that we actually feel that way. Like there's some joy. Oh, there's some joy there. This person brings joy into my life. That's pretty cool. This person makes me laugh. This person, as you work with professional women that are over a certain age, you know, you don't think about like, oh, when I talk about him, I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about my projects and my councils and my committees and my, my X, Y, and Z commitments. You're literally sitting in the moment saying, oh yeah, let me tell you about this amazing person that I
Yeah,
met.
for real. So let me tell you guys, Danielle is a VP of a nonprofit. She is a realtor and she's working on her PhD. Okay, so she has all the things to say. I'm too busy for love, right? People say that all the time. Like, I'm too busy, Coach. Yes, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. But somehow, right, when you let the right person into your space, magic happens.
Magic happened. So let me tell you about this magic. When I met my now husband, he was so respectful of
Mm,
me and respectful of my time.
mm,
Because again, guess what? I was telling myself, I'm not interested. And
mm.
so I literally wouldn't spend a lot of time on the phone with him. It would be, hey, I have 15 minutes because I'm about to eat. So how you doing? Yeah. And it was genuine. It wasn't really any kind of game playing, because I think that that's a waste of time.
Right.
But it was genuine. I really was tight on time. Um, but I found it important enough for me to speak to him because he was worth my time, right? And so I would speak to him, we'd share how our day was. And, the first conversation we had is what he ultimately said, make him fall in love with me. Do you want to know what that was? Right? Because again, I'm not interested, but you're already falling in love. So let's talk about what that conversation was. And so we were just having, you talk about a little bit of everything. He said, are you a surveyor or a researcher or something? Because the way that you speak and the way that you ask questions makes me feel like I'm taking a survey. And obviously, I do a little bit of all of that. But, he had asked me, he said, what are your beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I believe that, and he rose again. And I believe in the Son of God, right? And I believe in the Lord. And so I didn't even take that as like a point in the conversation of we're about to get into this deep discussion on religion. It was just something he was interested to know, and
Right.
I just simply answered, from what it is that I felt, and that was the point that he decided, yep, that's the woman for me, because he will often tell you, he's just like, yeah, the moment I knew Danielle was for me, which is literally this first conversation, y'all, was that he said, I had asked the Lord that when I am ready for a serious relationship and to get married, that I would be married to a woman of faith.
Mm.
And so he says to me, I feel like you're an answered prayer from God. Because as I work on my relationship with the Lord, it was important for me to have a woman of faith in my life who could support me in that and encourage me in that and grow with me in that. And so, one small piece of a conversation that was just so impactful for him that I just was just like, oh, we're just having a genuine discussion. And so I think that it's important that we as women, be willing to have conversations openly, honestly, be transparent in who you are, because guess what? If I felt like he was asking me a question about religion or beliefs or spirituality to see if I was just loose with it or whatever, I could, play the game. But again, no game playing. I mean, be honest with who you are, what you believe, and state that. And if that's something that the person can respect or they don't respect, then, you have your answers there, right? About the level of engagement that you guys should have with each other. But that was literally the moment that he fell in love with me. But just
that he was the one. When did you know that he was the one for you as someone who was not interested?
So I knew that he was the one for me. I think it was kind of progressive, right? Because there was no single point. It was more like, this guy is growing on me. Again, we still only had 15 minutes conversations, but he would do things like, hey, it's like a Sunday. Hey, I think on next Sunday or next Saturday, if you'd be open to it, I'd really love to take you out on a date. That was new for me. A guy pre-planning and asking, are you available for me to take you out
Nice.
to enjoy something with you? And effort and consideration, right, of time and my time. And so the first date, we went to Jackson's ice cream parlor out in Hollywood, Hollandale area. And it was a cute ice cream date. He wanted to take me on an ice cream date because we had realized in our conversation with each other, initial conversations, that we both had a love of ice cream. And that's simply what we did. We went to have ice cream and a conversation. I just thought that was so cute.
Cute. Oh my goodness. So ice cream parlor. So just in terms of our interaction throughout your relationship, because sometimes people come to me thinking that it's only one when they're ready to find love, or, that's it. So for you, I was along the journey in your relationship. So what did that do for you?
I think it helped to focus me on what it is that I was feeling. What
Mm.
was I feeling? Because in the process of meeting my now husband, I also met another guy who, again, wasn't interested in. However, when I look at the other guy, he was kind of like me in male form, which
Ooh.
was interesting. It was interesting. Um, But he also,
Wait. So everybody wants the power couple, right? So, you're both doing it, making it happen, movers and shakers, and that might just be too much, right?
it might be too much. But the flip side is, I mean, he was more me in the space of like goofiness, and most people wouldn't see me as a goofy person. But that, so he offered some comic relief, some adventure in a sense. Um, and I kind of found myself in a space of really deciding like what kind of person do I ultimately want to spend my time with? You know, who do I really want to be with if I determine that I want to be in a relationship? And I found myself in this space. I was going to this event and I had to decide, oh, I'm talking to two different guys. Right? I'm like, who do I invite? You know, and it got me to thinking about, how do I feel about this person when I go out in public? Do I feel like, they represent me and I represent them? Like, do we meld together? Not in the sense of like an image thing, right? Because in the image thing, he was like an entrepreneur. So it was just like we matched on that level because I also have a consulting firm, right? So entrepreneurship is something I love and that I support. But was he a match for me, right? And did I feel like when I walked out that I felt comfortable that I could be myself, that he could be myself, and I'm not looking at him like, don't do that, or he's not looking at me like, why are you doing that, that kind of thing. But we could just generally be ourselves and enjoy each other and enjoy the event that we were going to. So it was really interesting because my husband is now a person who appreciates getting all dressed up, but before, he was not having it. So I was just like, listen, I go to events all the time. I don't need you. I'm not trying to make you do anything you don't want to do, but I need you to put on some slacks, put on some dress shoes. And I was just like, see, I don't want to fight with anybody about going to events either. So it was an interesting situation. But ultimately, I decided I wanted to be in a space where I felt like someone was genuinely there to be with me,
Yeah.
not to try to wow the crowd or to impress them and just be extra.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted somebody who was just going to be laid back, be themselves, and be there to support me. And that is exactly.
And I tell y'all, they are the cutest together. They will tear down the dance floor. Okay, they will make it happen. All right.
You got to get down a little bit.
Just a little bit. Oh my gosh. So, I'm not sure if I told you this in private, but I'll say it in public. Well, actually, you bestowed me with the. Oh, I feel tears. Okay, I'm okay. You gave me one of the greatest honors of my life, past every award, mention, press, whatever. Um, you asked me to be your matron of honor.
I did.
And I just wanted to say that was like a pinnacle of my journey, to have such an honor, from you, because that just made me feel like, you know what, I'm doing the right thing, like I'm making a difference out here in these streets, so
We are, yes.
so like what brought you to that decision?
So Sean and I, when we decided that we would get married, right, which is a whole cute proposal story, save that for another day. But Sean and I decided, you know what? We don't need anybody standing next to us. It's about me and you. Let's do this together. Obviously, there'll be people in the crowd, but hey, it's me and you, babe. So let's do this, right? But then, we talked about, but if we did, right, who would it be? And he was like, I have close friends that I grew up with, and he has fantastic friends. It's important, right, that your guys, your spouses have people in their corner who's not pulling them away from relationships, but also but just encouraging them in relationships and in their businesses, and then just encouraging friends. So he has those. So he certainly had people that he could ask, but he decided my father is going to be my best man, because there's no other person in this world that, when I look at them and I look at their value, and their perspective on relationships and how they are in relationships, that they're a role model for me. And so he saw his dad in that way. of being just a great role model of a husband. So he said, absolutely, my father would stand next to me. And I said, wow, I got my Spelman sisters, I got actual sisters, I got, I got people I can ask to, let me think about this, I got people. And I said, you know what? I said, hands down, I'm going to ask Coach Cass if we have people stand next to us. Because when I thought about role models for marriage, not someone who's a love coach, not someone who's an awesome mother, just somebody who's an awesome role model for what marriage should look like and what it should feel like and what it should be. Instantly, Coach Cass, you are all those things and above. You're a great mother, a great businesswoman, you're an excellent love coach. But when I look at the relationship that you and Andy have, I said, yeah, I love that. And besides, I said, you know what? Who's been a cheerleader of our union from the get-go? Coach Cass, right? So you want that. You want somebody who, when you look at them, they understand the value of marriage. You see that example in their marriage, but you also see that they have been a cheerleader for your union. And so you have people standing next to you who, when it comes to marriage, you have a question, just need a chat, or you just need a prayer, you can call those people and they're going to give you some sound godly advice that align with your values. And it's coming from a place of love for you both, not from a place of I'm on your side. So yes, it was my honor, and I'm so glad you accepted. And I know that we had a COVID wedding at the end of the day, but you still stood in the gap. Like, you became virtual maid of honor. So ladies, listen, you ain't got to call your childhood best friend, your girlfriend from high school. Let me tell you, Coach Cass will be by your side every step of the way, as she certainly was for me. So when did you and Andy know that you were ready to introduce a third person into your relationship that wasn't the Lord?
Hallelujah. So yeah, right. So that was a third strand the whole time. But so let me tell you, we told our families that we were going to wait 2 years, right? And I remember it to the day. His brother called me. His brother called me, and he said, "Okay, Cass, according to my calculations, now is the time to start trying."
Oh,
Okay. What? And then I was like, oh, on average, people take about 5 months to get pregnant, and then it's another 10 months. So, you will be having a child right around your anniversary if you start now. And I was just
specific calculations. That's
he's real analytical. I was just like, okay, well, I guess that works. So I went to Andy, and Andy was like, I don't know. Like, are we ready? And I'm like, I don't think anybody's ever really ready. It's just kind of like a thing you decide and you do it, And at the time, I had an IUD. So it was a decision to take it out, And I was like, all right, it's either it's in or it's out. I'm like, what we doing? So I'm here on YouTube, girl. I was on YouTube trying to look up how to take my IUD out. I called my girlfriend who's an OB. She's like, no. I'll make an appointment for you tomorrow. Please, please don't do that.
This is not a DIY situation.
So literally the next day, I went to my girlfriend's office, who's an OBGYN in my hometown, Broward, and she took it out. And then after that, we did the whole, so in the Bible, my girlfriend told me this, in the Bible, it talks about the woman being unclean for 7 days, and then every other day after, and then you're pregnant. That actually worked for me, right? So the whole, like, here's your period, day 1, and then day 7, then day 8, 10, 12, you have sex, right? So literally that was the regimen. And otherwise, I got an adjustment from the chiropractor like once every couple of weeks, because I used to work with a chiropractor at a wellness center. And he said, your body's like a car and it needs to be aligned in order for things to flow. So that literally is my quote unquote trick, because I didn't realize how hard it is to get pregnant until you're trying to get pregnant. When you were a teenager, you felt like you were going to sneeze and get pregnant. You're like, oh, Lord, like your whole life, you're like, please don't let me get pregnant, Lord. And then now it's like, okay to get pregnant. You're like, oh, this is a little mechanics to this, it's like, all right, it's today a day, what's the day, it becomes a whole dance. But literally our anniversary was October 18th, and my daughter was born November 23rd.
Oh,
So a whole month later, so his brother was not off in
Listen,
his calculation at all. So yes, I would say that it was more romantic than that, but it really wasn't. I find that the more educated you are, the more you overthink it. Like, oh man, how much does a kid cost? $250,000. Oh man, what did we do? Like, wow. So
uh-huh.
like just do it. If y'all gonna do it, it's like just make it
just,
happen.
just make it happen.
Just do it. Just do it.
Just
Just
do it.
do it.
Just
Oh, man.
great slogan.
Yes. Have fun with the process. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly. So that's what's next for us.
Amazing. That's so cool. So many people are like, oh, well, we're gonna wait for like forever. So y'all are like ready to go.
Yeah. No, when we make decisions, we're just like, okay, we're doing that. Just
Yep.
like the wedding. It was just like, it's COVID. What we gonna do? Make it happen.
And that wedding was so beautiful. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. My goodness, you guys did it right. I know COVID has dampened many people's plans, but a part of me feels like it also has made things so much more intimate and so beautiful. And the way it's supposed to be, because everybody at the wedding was like your closest family, right? And it's just like
Exactly.
there's something special about that versus, cousin so and so from 9 years away you haven't spoken to, but since it's your mama's friend, he needs to be there. All those extra stresses of paying for chicken dinners.
Speaking the truth, you are speaking the truth. Our original wedding was 125 people and growing, but certainly it ended up being the very closest family to be in compliance with COVID restrictions. But it was everything we could have imagined or couldn't have imagined. It was perfect.
Beautiful. Sometimes you just have to get back to the basics. That's it. Just get back to the
Get
basics.
back to the basics and let love flow and let things flow. Don't get so stressed out about things. Just go with the flow.
Oh, I love you. Oh my gosh. So, guys, at the end of the day, Danielle is a very accomplished woman who really wasn't looking for love. But then when love came, there was a question, right? And then through the journey, that question got answered. And now she is happily married to an amazing man. And, I hope that this serves as encouragement for all of you listening, watching, to know that love can also happen for you, no matter how busy you are, no matter how accomplished you are, no matter how many things you have on your plate. Because I hear it all the time, Coach Cass, I intimidate men. But are you intimidating men, or are you just intimidating yourself? Are you getting in your own way? Dun, dun, dun. So how can people find you, Danielle, on social media? Like, do you have a handle?
I do. Social media, Instagram. My name is _ this is Danielle. And then also on Facebook, you can find me as Danielle Das. That's my previous name. But please connect, and you have any questions, love to share my journey with you.
Oh, yay. Thanks for coming, Danielle.
You are welcome.
For anybody brand new to the podcast, please do spend some time, listen to the podcast, leave 5 stars. We love you guys. And until next time, continue to love. Bye.